Hi, my name's Dayton. I'm a filmmaker, photographer, and digital nomad in training from Canada. This is my wife Mitchie, who was born and raised in the Philippines. So I've been lucky enough to have been on 3 trips to the Philippines, and in those 3 trips I stayed approximately 9 months traveling, living, and working online. So the Philippines is not your typical backpacker destination, but I can easily say after my time here, this is an extremely beautiful country with over 7,100 islands. This country has an amazing culture, very hospitable, and very friendly. A good thing to note is most of the population speaks English, so it's very easy to make friends and to hang out with the locals. So in this video, we're going to focus on traveling the Visayas Islands. These islands are a bit more laid back than Luzon, the main island, and a bit more cheaper than Palawan. And though there are some beautiful places in the Mindanao area, most governments do not recommend going here because there's been terrorist activity in the past. But that's not to say that there's some extremely safe cities like Davao that a lot of people say is really nice to check out. The islands that we're going to focus on in this video are Bohol, Cebu, Siquijor, and Negros Islands. Normally most people land in Manila Airport, but I highly recommend getting on a plane as soon as possible and heading to Cebu. So my best tip for landing in Cebu Airport is once you go outside, you'll see people who are trying to offer you taxis to go to your hotel. They will try to sell you rides for about 500 pesos, which is about 2 to 3 times overpriced. So what you do is just walk to the road straight in front of you and wave down a taxi, and it'll cost you about 80 to 150 pesos to get to your room. Jeepneys, tricycles, and buses are the main forms of public transportation in the Philippines. One thing to remember when you're crossing the roads in big cities in the Philippines is you pretty much have to play Frogger, so try not to get hit. Cebu City is famous for its roasted pig. Here they call it lechon, and Zubuchon probably has the best lechon in the city. Cebu City has great historical landmarks to check out. These can be found all over the city. The resorts in the area are mostly on Mactan Island, but I don't really recommend the beach there because the water's kind of polluted. Cebu City is almost like a Manila light. So if city life isn't really your thing, I would only recommend staying 2 or 3 days tops in Cebu. So once you're done exploring the city, take a taxi or a jeepney down to Cebu Ferry Terminal. Here you're going to buy a ticket and head over to Bohol Island. Once you get on Bohol Island, you'll need to take a tricycle to Alona Beach. Alona Beach is where most of the resorts are. Alona Beach is on Panglao Island. This island is connected to Bohol with a bridge. You can find decent rooms for about 600 to 1,000 pesos near the beach for air conditioning rooms. Or if you're doing a backpacker style, you can find beds for about 300 pesos. Or you can find knee huts for about 600 pesos. So I highly recommend renting a scooter here. You can find scooters for rent near the main road going down to Alona Beach. If you're renting for multiple days, I recommend trying to cut a deal with the guys. I think we paid about 250 pesos a day. Bohol is a great island to learn how to ride a scooter because it's not much traffic and it's relaxed roads. One main drive is up to the Chocolate Hills. So when you go on this drive, you'll first stop at Lubok River. You can go on a lunch on the river cruise and you can go up and check out the native village. Here they show off their native culture and tour people around their village. Next, stop over at the Tarsier Sanctuary. This is home to the smallest primate in the world. This thing has huge eyes and is pretty damn cute, but they're not too active during the day. Next, you'll make your way up through the man-made forest. This is a beautiful drive. The next stop will be Bohol's Chocolate Hills. These are the famous landmark hills, but it does seem to be a really big tourist attraction, so there will be lots and lots of people there. It's a really chill drive going up through these mountains here. If you have time, I suggest going north and going to Danao, and you can go check out the Danao Adventure Park. This place is really cool for its action-adventure type tours. Another great scooter drive is around Panglao Island, and I recommend stopping at Hinadagan Cave. This cave is really cool to check out, take some pictures, and if you pay a little extra, you're allowed to swim in it too. If you're into kayaking, I highly recommend you check out the Firefly Tour. This tour is visually mind-blowing. This was one of my top favorite tours in the Philippines. When on Alona Beach, you can arrange tours to go snorkeling and island hopping. I recommend these tours if you're into snorkeling and want to see a marine sanctuary. During the night, Alona Beach seems to have a very nice chill vibe with a very chill party scene. There's lots of bars, lots of places to eat food, and lots of places to chill, or if you want, you can just sit back and watch a fire dance. And normally a few times a week there'll be a big beach party. If party beaches isn't really your thing, I recommend going to the other side of the island of Bohol and checking out Anada Beach. This is a really great secluded beach for families or people not in the party scene. After 3 to 5 days on Bohol Island, get back on the ferry and head back to Cebu Island. Once back on Cebu Island, you can take either a bus or you can rent a scooter. Then head down south to the quiet resort town of Moalboal. Moalboal has some great diving and some great snorkeling, and it also has some really secluded beaches nearby. This is a great little town to explore and relax in. Here you can find backpacker resorts and regular resorts. You're not going to find too many tourists here, so this is a really great place for a relaxed weekend getaway. And lucky us, our room came with complimentary creepy crawlies. The big attraction other than snorkeling and diving is Kawasan Falls. You can find Kawasan Falls about 20 minutes south of Moalboal. There's two ways to see Kawasan Falls. You can drive right to it, or if you're feeling adventurous, you can take the canyoneering tour. I highly recommend this tour. This is the funnest tour I've ever been on. It takes about 2 hours to get down, and my god is it fun. Make sure your knees are in good condition because you're going to be doing a lot of climbing and jumping and crawling around. So if you're like me and have bad knees, that's something you got to watch out for. So take it slow and watch your step because this tour is a blast, so you don't want to miss out. Also in Badian is Lambug Beach. This is a great secluded beach, and to get to it you need to go through some really beautiful mountain roads. After a 2 to 4 day stay in Moalboal, I recommend heading over to Oslob. You can either take a bus, and if you rented a bike, it is a really beautiful drive to go all the way down to the tip of Cebu and up to Oslob. Oslob is another really quiet resort town. You'll see more backpackers here than the regular resort goers. Some cool things to do around Oslob are go check out Tumalog Falls. These waterfalls are a bit of a hike to get to, but it is really beautiful and I highly recommend going to check it out. Oslob is famous for its whale sharks. This is an experience you can only have in a few places in the world. To swim with these gentle giants, it costs 500 pesos if you're a local, or 1,000 pesos if you're from out of the country. If you do choose to go swim with the whale sharks, make sure it's day, not after a big storm or typhoon, because when we went, the water was really murky and hard to see. But it was a great experience anyways. If you got extra time in Oslo and you enjoy hiking, I highly recommend going about 1.5 hours up north to Osmina Peak. This mountain peak is about a 15-minute hike and is easily the best view of all of Cebu. This is mine and my wife's favorite spot in Cebu, and also where I proposed to her. If you can catch it on a nice clear day, this is a beautiful view to see. After 2 to 3 days staying in Oslob, travel down to the southern tip of Cebu, then take the ferry to Dumaguete City on Negros Island. Dumaguete is a cool little college town and worth checking out. Also nearby, Dawan has some really nice beaches, which are also very secluded, and there's some local marine sanctuaries you can check out and go snorkeling. Or if you're in the mood for a mountain resort, you can head up to the mountains in Valencia and go check out Mountain Hot Springs Resorts. From Dawan, you can hire a tour boat and head over to Apu Island. Apu Island is a really nice marine sanctuary. Here there's a lot of sea turtles and some of the best scuba diving in the world. This is a really small, beautiful island and is great to explore. This is also a really great place to get your PADI scuba diving license. And if you go with a group, you'll get a discount because it's not so expensive to take a boat over. Once you're done on Apu Island, head over to Dumaguete and go down to the ferry terminal, get on a boat and go to Siquijor Island. Siquijor Island is known best to Filipinos as the Witchcraft Island. There's witchcraft healers in the mountains. We tried to find them, but we didn't have any luck. Siquijor has some of the best beach resorts that I've seen in the Philippines, and one that's my favorite is Coco Grove, where we stayed. This is a beautiful resort that has multiple restaurants, tons of activities to do, and has some great nighttime entertainment. Siquijor is very much an explore-it-yourself kind of island. Here you can rent bikes for about 250 pesos to 300 pesos a day, or you can rent a jeepney. But I highly recommend bike. So there's 2 trips I recommend doing around Siquijor Island on bikes. The first one I call the Loop. First start at the Natural Springs Park and then head down to the 400-year-old tree. Here you can stop and check out the tree, and also they have a fish spa pond. This is a very freaky experience because there's really big fish there and some of them come really close to your toes. Siquijor Island is home to some really beautiful churches and convents. I highly recommend stopping here when you're heading up to the waterfalls. These were some of the funnest falls that I've been to in the Philippines. The water is really beautiful, really warm, and this place is really great for doing jumps and doing tricks off the waterfalls. This is a really great spot to chill for a couple hours. Next, head back on the main road and head up to Saladong Forest. This is a beautiful man-made forest that they planted, and really nice to drive through. It's got awesome shade and just looks really great because all the trees are like hanging over the road. This forest leads into Saladong Beach. This is a really nice beach resort and has one of the most epic jumps I've seen ever. This is one of the best beaches that we've been to, but we didn't really have too much time to stick around or do the jumps really. Now the last part of this trip is the lookout in Lorena. Now when you're driving through this city, you'll look to the left up in the mountains. You'll see a big white dome, and that's what you're going for. Try to catch this place at sunset. This is the best view of Siquijor Island, and though it's treacherous to get up there, I highly recommend the trip. Siquijor Island had some of the best sunsets I've ever seen in my life. For the second trip around the island, I recommend going to the waterfalls near San Jones and all the resorts. This is a great little drive that's about 25 minutes from the resorts, refreshing place to have a swim and cool off. Next, head back to Les Isles, where the churches are, and head up north into the mountains. You'll make a left-hand turn and go through Bandilan National Park. This is a really nice national park that goes right into the mountaintops. Very nice cool climate. In the middle of the national park, there's a really nice lookout. It's about a 5-minute hike and you can get a really nice view of the island. Next you'll head into Cantopon. Here in this town you'll find a tour guide who will take you into Cantopon Cave. This is a really cool cave with stalactites and stalagmites. It goes pretty damn deep. I think we only went halfway, I guess you can go a lot farther. I highly recommend checking out this place. Once you're done in the cave, you'll head northwest and can come out in Siquijor City, and from there you can head back to your resort. I can easily say Siquijor Island is my favorite island of them all. Now when you head back to Dumaguete, you can rent a bike or you can rent a car, then head along the coast, go up to Sipalay Beach. Here you can find some really nice resorts that are super secluded and just really untouched and just beautiful. We stayed at a really nice resort called Punta Balata. Now the next destination is where I lived and stayed most of my time in the Philippines. If you travel north from Sipalay and go to Bacolod City, Bacolod is known as the City of Smiles. Now normally Bacolod City is not really much of a tourist city, but there's some really great spots around there. And the areas around Bacolod City are really fun to explore. Bacolod City is a medium-sized college town that has a booming economy right now. This city is famous for its barbecue chicken. Most famous would be Mang Inasal. They have some amazing barbecue chicken with some really good prices. And there's about 6 or 7 other barbecue chicken chains to choose from, all with really great barbecue. Another thing Bacolod's famous for is its sugarcane plantations. Once you go outside the city, you'll see tons and tons of fields of sugarcane. And it really is a really nice sight with the sugarcane and the volcanoes in the background. Another thing Bacolod's famous for is its epic Mascara Festival. This festival starts on October 1st and goes until October 19th, with the big celebration starting on the 16th to the 19th. During this time, streets are entirely closed down and it's pretty much a huge street party. This is easily one of the best festivals I've ever been to in my life, and probably one of the funnest things ever to film. If you enjoy festivals, I highly recommend checking out Mascara. Bacolod doesn't really have any good beaches, but what it does have is some really nice mountain resorts. One of my favorite mountain resorts is Mambucal. Mambucal is found about 45 minutes east of Bacolod, located at the foothills of Canelon Volcano. This is a really scenic mountain resort where you can either pay just a day fee or you can rent a room or you can camp. There's 7 waterfalls to check out, that's an hour hike. There's pools to swim in, there's sulfur hot springs. They also have a sanctuary for giant fruit bats and butterflies. This is one of the most peaceful spots to go camping in the mountains. Bacolod also has some really great camping spots and also some really great hiking spots around. If you plan on doing these, I highly recommend getting a guide because some of the mountain trails are very treacherous. Always bring lots of water too when you're going on these hikes. And if you're into longboarding, Bacolod has a really great longboarding community. These guys are super friendly and they can show you some of the great spots around. Some other really great spots near Bacolod are the Secret Sulfuric Hot Springs. These are located south of Mambucal. This place is really great for a day trip and the water is amazing. Also make sure you check out Salay City and the beautiful Spanish architecture of the ruins. The Pope Tower in Bacolod has an epic view of the sunset. Make sure you check out the House Made of Stone. Try some of Bacolod's foodie restaurants. Some things to remember is there are no scooters to rent in Bacolod. You have to rent a car. And since a lot of the things to see are kind of far away from Bacolod, you're going to need a rented car or have a bike rented from another city. Some really great day trips would be to check out Canelon City. Here you can see the Hanging Bridge that's nearby, and you can go check out the Century Tree. This tree is crazy huge and fun to climb. Another really great day trip from Bacolod City in January is Dinagsag Festival held in Cadiz City. just north about an hour drive of Bacolod. This is a crazy fun festival, lots of drinking, lots of street parties, and be prepared to get covered in paint. This is a really fun festival, so I'd recommend trying to go see it. So when you're going to head home, you can take a flight from Bacolod to Manila, and from Manila you can catch a flight home. So let's talk about tips and all around information. The Philippines is a very safe country, but most crime is pickpocketing, so you will want to watch your belongings really closely. When you're going through crowded areas and you have a backpack, try to wear your backpack on the front and don't keep valuables in your pockets. I highly recommend a body wallet. Another really good piece of information is the Philippines pretty much runs on cash. So you're going to be needing to get cash when you're in the big cities, because once you get to the little towns, there might not be cash machines, or they may be out of stock of money. So that's something you're going to have to be aware of and watch out for. If you're going to be renting bikes, make sure you're always wearing your helmet. And if you're new to riding bikes, you should try to learn on a quiet road with not much traffic around. Bohol and Siquijor are the best places to learn how to ride. When you get to the Philippines, you'll get a 30-day visa. After your 30 days is up, you'll have to pay a fee to get your visa renewed. And if you're late, you'll get some late fees. You can do this in the big cities near you. When you're packing for the Philippines, try to pack light. It may become a big hassle if you bring lots and lots of bags. Best way I find to do it is bring one big backpack or one big backpack and one day bag that you can wear in your front. Don't be afraid to try the local food. I've never gotten sick off local food, and I recommend everyone try balut at least once. Balut is a hard-boiled 16 to 21 day duck embryo. Though it sounds really bad, it's definitely a must try, and it doesn't really taste that bad at all. It actually tastes kind of good. The best way to save money on meals is instead of eating at the resorts or wherever you're staying, go outside and go to a cheaper restaurant or a small little eatery. You'll pay 2 to 3 times less. You can find accommodations from anywhere from $6 to $30 and up, depending on the room and location. The Philippines is an amazing place to visit. I highly recommend checking this place out. And right now is the best time to see the Philippines because it's somewhat untouched by the hordes of tourists. You can go many places here and never see a tourist for weeks, so it's a bit more secluded than, say, somewhere like Thailand. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them in the comment section below, and I will try to answer everyone as soon as possible. If you want to see more of our adventures, check out all of our other videos, and if this video has been helpful for you, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe because we'll be putting up more videos of our adventures to come. So thank you all for watching, stay safe, and peace out.